What's up? Week 3 of Create a Song Walkthrough. And previously we've worked on the intro, pre-chorus, chorus, and I drew in the transition so you could see where I was going to put it. So this week we're going to start on verse, which would be verse 1. And I used the same drum kit from Kong, except I loaded in a new kick. It's in a different pad than what the original kick was on. But I am going to solo it so you can hear what it sounds like. I recorded the hi-hat on the same lane, open and closed. I did not quantize this time because I want the feel to be there. When you quantize something, you kind of get that robotic feel, and that's not really what I was going for. As we move on a little bit more, and I show you what I did in the verse, you'll understand why I don't want it so robotic. The first thing I added was this full orchestra, which here I made orchestra strings, and I basically made, if you're actually in an orchestra, there would be probably about 3 chairs, maybe sometimes 4 chairs to a section. So you'd have first chair, second chair, third chair, maybe fourth chair, and they have different parts, but I decided to combine them. So I opened it up. You can see the first one is in the original octave. The second one, I raised it an octave, and the third one, I lowered it an octave, because different parts usually lowered, higher, and it's like that. And then I did cello, and then the bass. Also, another thing I did in the mixer was if you're at an orchestra and you're watching them play, then the violins would all sit to your left, and then the bass and the cello would be sitting to your right. So I kind of pan them, not a whole lot, just a little bit. When you hear it, you'll realize it's not that much, but it sounds more realistic to orchestra-wise. I also put down the bass and treble on a little bit just to make it sound a little bit more realistic. And I'll solo that so you can hear what that sounds like. Changes a little bit here. And that's what I was going for. I wanted the verse to have a little bit more realism to it, say. And yes, I did not add any effects to it. And for the next part that I added was an organ, I believe, and it's in Combinator 2. And I used the B3, but I added digital reverb and a digital delay line. And if you know anything about the B3, you're like, why the crap would you add a digital delay line? Well, I did it for the purpose at the end. See that? It's back there. It's chorus. The digital delay doesn't really affect the initial sound coming out. In this case, not every time, but so at the very end, it's almost like it's in the reverb. Changes it from a classic B3, but the B3 is still a real sound, and it fits along with my real orchestra. So after that, I had drums, an orchestra, and an organ. So there's not much there, but it made a pretty groovy sound. I told you don't do your transitions before you write something, do them after, so leave the space in between, because at first I had a little bit of a transition where this whole chorus played out and then dropped completely, and then the transition played and then the verse started, which at the time that sounded really cool, but once I started finishing the verse and then I went back and listened to it and I was like, it doesn't work. So went back, and down here I added this. Oh, I hate blocks, by the way. But anyways, I added this, which is like a sweeper. I think it's a factory sound bank sweeper. It's in my Thor 5. Yeah, stereo noise sweep, which is a Thor run. And turned on the chorus, and I added a digital reverb, a phaser, and digital delay line. So let you have a listen through there. The phaser is what really made it unique and not keep it as a factory soundbank sound. So the next thing I needed was something to fill up the space, or there was something already playing, but it was too much of a dropout. So I added this Thor, and it's the Behemoth, And I made some frequency changes, which is in the automation. And I also turned on the state variable filter right here. I bumped up the filter a little bit and took this down and put the gain up a little bit. I added a chorus flanger along with it, bumped the delay up a lot, synced the mod amount and the rate, turned the feedback down. And as you can see, this is my automation. It's the pitch bend, which it doesn't do complete octaves, it's just bending the note to a different note. And I started with top, middle, bottom, which is a range of 3 notes, not octaves, remember, not octaves. And they basically go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I kept this all one note just to show you a little bit of automation. I wouldn't have to do automation or one note in this case, but. And then my filter frequency is the one that I was telling you about earlier. And basically, after this sweeper right here sweeps out and the digital delay line starts taking its toll and it's bouncing in and out in the transition, the filter frequency is completely cut out at the very beginning, and it slowly builds up to its peak just past 37, almost to 38, measured 38, where it reaches its maximum, and then it drops back down just above halfway. And I'll let you listen to that. See, this is still continuing with the 3 notes. It's gonna drop out. And this new sound comes in, which is the maelstrom. See, hear the B3? B3 is still dragging out. Anyways, yeah, the sound right here was the maelstrom, a Kova. I don't remember doing much to this. I did mix a little bit more. I got rid of all my peaks, or not my peaks. I got rid of all my clips, so I'm not clipping anymore. But I'm gonna play the song from start to finish. Don't forget to message me here or on Skype if you want the file. You'll have to add me on Skype to send you the file because I can't email the file to you. Don't forget to comment below. on what you think the song should be called. And I'll see you next week for week 4.